The moment I looked up from the dumbbell in my hand and saw her standing beside me, I nearly dropped the weight on my foot. 3 years. 3 long years of rebuilding my life. 3 years of convincing myself that I was finally over her. And yet one look at her face was enough to make every memory come rushing back like a flood breaking through a dam. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it over the music blasting through the gym speakers. The worst part wasn't that she was standing there. The worst part was the clipboard in her hands. The trainer badge clipped to her shorts. The towel hanging from her arm. The woman I had switched gyms to avoid had somehow become my trainer. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change lives, take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Ancient Truth. Your support means everything and helps us continue sharing powerful stories like this one. My name is Garrick Rowan. At 29 years old, I thought I had finally figured out how to move on from heartbreak. I was wrong. The story really began 4 years earlier. Back then, my life looked completely different. I wasn't obsessed with fitness. I wasn't waking up at 5 in the morning. I wasn't spending weekends helping teenagers at community outreach programs. Back then, my entire world revolved around one person. Her name was Maria Hart. The woman standing in front of me now. The woman I once planned to marry. The woman who taught me how painful love could become when trust breaks. We met during a charity marathon. Neither of us had expected anything serious. One conversation became 2. 2 became 10. Before long, we were spending every free moment together. She was ambitious, intelligent, stubborn, and incredibly passionate about helping people improve their lives. I loved that about her. She challenged me constantly. She pushed me to become better. For 3 years we built a life together. We talked about buying a house. We talked about children. We talked about growing old together. Then everything fell apart. The beginning of the end wasn't dramatic. There was no cheating. No betrayal. No scandal. Just misunderstandings. Small ones at first. The kind most couples experience. Busy schedules. Missed calls. Cancelled plans. Miscommunication. But problems have a way of growing when people stop talking honestly. I was building my career. She was building hers. Both of us were exhausted. Both of us were stressed. Instead of supporting each other, we started blaming each other. Arguments became more frequent. Patience became rare. Trust slowly disappeared. The final explosion happened during a company networking event. Hundreds of people attended. The room was crowded. The atmosphere was loud. A misunderstanding involving one of my co-workers sparked an argument. What should have been a private conversation became a public disaster. Harsh words were exchanged. Pride took control. Neither of us backed down. When the night ended, so did our relationship. At least that's what I believed. The months afterward were brutal. I buried myself in work. I stopped seeing friends. I stopped enjoying life. Eventually, I discovered fitness. The gym became my therapy. Every workout helped distract me from memories I couldn't escape. Over time, I transformed physically. The stronger my body became, the more people assumed I was healing emotionally. The truth was very different. I wasn't healing. I was hiding. Then one ordinary morning changed everything. I arrived at my usual gym before sunrise. The building was quiet. The equipment gleamed beneath the bright lights. I headed toward the free weights. Halfway through my workout, I saw Maria enter the building. My chest tightened immediately. I froze. For a moment I thought I was imagining things. Then she smiled at someone nearby. The smile was unmistakable. It was her. I left without finishing my workout. The next day I skipped the gym. The day after that I cancelled my membership entirely. My friends thought I was being ridiculous. Maybe they were right. But they didn't understand. Some wounds look healed until you touch them. Seeing Mireia reminded me that mine were still open. A week later I joined another gym across the city. It was larger, newer, and farther from every place connected to my past. The location seemed perfect. For the first time in years, I felt peaceful. Then fate decided to laugh at me. Because 3 weeks after joining, I discovered Mireia worked there. As my trainer. The gym manager introduced her while I sat on a weight bench trying to process what was happening. I couldn't believe it. Out of every gym in the city. Out of every trainer available. I ended up with her. The universe clearly had a twisted sense of humor. For several days I considered quitting. Again. But something inside me resisted. Maybe I was tired of running. Maybe I was tired of letting old pain control my choices. Whatever the reason, I stayed. The first training session was painfully awkward. Mireia remained professional. I remained distant. We discussed repetitions, nutrition, and workout schedules. Nothing else. No mention of the past. No mention of us. No mention of the years we had lost. But emotions don't disappear simply because people ignore them. Every session became a battle. Not against the weights. Against memories. The way she tucked loose hair behind her ear. The way she focused intensely while explaining exercises. The way she encouraged clients without judging them. Everything reminded me of why I fell in love with her in the first place. Weeks passed. Then months. Something unexpected began happening. The anger I carried started fading. Not because the past changed. Because I finally saw the person standing in front of me clearly. Mireia wasn't the same woman she had been years earlier. Life had changed her. Pain had changed her. Responsibility had changed her. One afternoon I arrived at the gym looking exhausted. The previous night my younger brother had been involved in a car accident. Thankfully he survived, but fear had kept me awake. I tried hiding my emotions. Mireia noticed immediately. She didn't push. She didn't pry. She simply adjusted the workout and quietly encouraged me throughout the session. That simple act stayed with me. Because it reminded me of something I had forgotten. Despite everything that happened between us, she was still kind. Over the following months, walls slowly came down. Small conversations began appearing between exercises. I learned she had spent years helping care for her father after a serious illness. She learned I had started volunteering every weekend. We discovered how much we had both grown. How much life had humbled us. One sunny afternoon the gym was unusually quiet. Most members had already left. Golden daylight poured through the giant windows overlooking the city. Mireia stood near the front desk organizing client schedules. For reasons I still can't explain, I walked over. Neither of us planned the conversation that followed. Yet it became the most important conversation of my life. For the first time since our breakup, we talked honestly. No accusations. No anger. No defensiveness. Just honesty. And the truth shocked both of us. Many of the assumptions that destroyed our relationship were wrong. The stories we told ourselves weren't accurate. Miscommunications had been interpreted as rejection. Fear had been mistaken for indifference. Silence had been mistaken for betrayal. We spent years blaming each other for things neither of us actually intended. The realization hurt. But it also brought relief. Because suddenly the past made sense. For years I believed she stopped loving me. That wasn't true. For years she believed I stopped caring. That wasn't true either. We had simply failed to communicate. Failed to trust. Failed to fight for each other when it mattered most. That conversation changed everything. Not overnight. Healing never works that way. But it changed the direction of our lives. Gradually, friendship returned. Then trust. Then comfort. For the first time in years, being around her didn't hurt. It felt natural. A few months later, my mother suffered a serious health scare. The hospital visits became frequent. Stress overwhelmed me. Fear consumed me. During those difficult weeks, Mireya showed up again and again. Not because she had to. Not because she expected anything. Because she cared. Sometimes she brought food. Sometimes she simply listened. Sometimes she sat beside me in silence. Her support reminded me of the woman I had fallen in love with years earlier. The woman beneath all the misunderstandings. The woman who never stopped caring about people. One evening after visiting the hospital, I sat alone on a bench outside. The sunset painted the sky orange and gold. For the first time, I admitted something to myself. I never truly stopped loving her. I had stopped trusting her. I had stopped believing a future was possible. But love? That had never completely disappeared. Realizing that terrified me. Because loving someone again means risking heartbreak again. Yet life has a funny way of rewarding courage. Months passed. My mother recovered. My training continued. And somewhere along the way, friendship became something deeper. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Slowly. Naturally. Like sunlight returning after a long winter. One morning, exactly 1 year after I first discovered Mireya was my trainer, I arrived early. The gym looked almost identical to that first day. Bright daylight streamed through the windows. People moved between machines. Music echoed softly throughout the room. I stood near the dumbbell rack remembering how shocked I felt the first time I saw her there. Back then I wanted to run. Now I felt grateful I stayed. Mireya approached carrying her clipboard. She smiled. A genuine smile. The kind that reaches someone's eyes. And in that moment I realized something important. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about understanding. It's about accepting. It's about learning from pain instead of allowing pain to control you. The relationship we rebuilt wasn't perfect. No relationship ever is. But it was honest. Stronger. Healthier. Built upon lessons neither of us could have learned any other way. Today, when people ask how we found our way back to each other, I usually smile. Because the answer sounds unbelievable. I switched gyms to avoid her. Then she became my trainer. The very situation I feared most became the thing that healed me. The thing that healed both of us. And sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had quit that day. If I had walked away. If I had continued running. I would have missed the chance to discover the truth. I would have missed forgiveness. I would have missed growth. Most importantly, I would have missed the opportunity to find love again with someone who had grown just as much as I had. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to Ancient Truth. Special request, comment "I believe in second chances" if you think people can grow, heal, and become better versions of themselves. As the years passed, I learned something valuable. Life rarely follows the path we expect. Sometimes the people we spend years trying to forget become the people who teach us our greatest lessons. Sometimes healing waits on the other side of discomfort. And sometimes the place you run to escape your past becomes the exact place where your future begins. The day I switched gyms, I thought I was running away from pain. I had no idea I was running straight toward the best chapter of my life. And for that, I will always be grateful.